Something I've noticed has been happening since the so-called pandemic, and I call it so-called because I believe it was all a hoax. But that's another story for another time. And what I'm referring to is the increased and surprising level of dishonesty and lack of ethics and good business practices coming from companies that have big names and reputable, so-called supposedly reputable organizations, multinational organizations that all of us deal with. And I have brought this up with business people and laymen of all economic levels, and they all immediately agree. You know, business practices that are meant to trap you, meant to cheat you, that are meant to trick you, such as, I'm just using a small example. If you don't want to, subscribe and be permanently subscribed to this service until you cancel, you uncheck this box. Things like that, or hidden fees and constantly changing rules with airlines and other companies, phone companies, cable companies, transportation companies, any kind of advertising companies that you deal with that surprise you because, you always thought probably these bigger companies are more honest. You deal with a big brand name and, you can sort of rest that at least, for whatever price they're going to charge you, they're going to give you a good, honest service as promised. That's no longer the case. Since the pandemic, I've been noticing big companies, big name companies, big name brands in all parts of the world. I mean, look, the second biggest bank in Switzerland went belly up for fraud. This is by no means limited to Switzerland or Europe. It is all over United States. I'm not even considering countries like Russia and certain Eastern European countries, or certain Middle Eastern countries, India, whatever. I'm not in any way disrespecting them, although I have my opinion about each and every country. Having traveled to them, I can be excused. But I'm talking about companies that are well-established, multinational companies, airline companies, transportation companies, telecommunication companies, advertising companies. You can no longer basically relax that, bathed in the thought that, oh, they're going to be honest, they're going to charge a certain price and they're going to give me exactly what they... No, that's not the case anymore. That's not the case anymore. You cannot relax in any aspect, in any part of interacting with them. You can almost count on it that they're going to pull the wool over your eyes, in some way. They say, oh yeah, well, we said that, but not to this limit. I'll just give you I gave you a small example about uncheck if you don't want to be permanently subscribed to this service. Why does it have to be like that? Why can't it be check if you want to be, subscribed to this service? Or for example, an airline that says, carry-on bags are allowed, check-in are not allowed. You say, okay, so check-in not allowed, I'll take my carry-on. And so you take your carry-on, you say, oh, no, I'm sorry, but we have to charge you because your carry-on weighing more than 12 pounds. I said, where does it say that? It's a legitimate, carry-on bag designed to be taken into the cabin of the aircraft. They say, well, yeah, but we have, here. They show you a minuscule thing that says, oh, yeah, if it's more than 12 kilos. And that changes. The next time it will be 7 kilos. It's getting less and less and less. Recently, it was found out in Congress of the U.S. that airlines award the check-in staff for charging people for their luggage, overweight luggage. And they randomly do it. They randomly do it to some people and not to others. So my point, I wish I had a solution, but I don't. The only solution I can offer is to be absolutely 10 times more diligent and forget the thought that just because a brand name is big, I don't want to name any companies, just because the name is known and it's all over and you've been seeing them for decades, whatever, that you can trust them to not trick you, to not pull the wool over your eyes, to not to come up with some rules designed to extract money out of you. You can no longer do that. And that has been I have noticed that exceedingly more since the pandemic. You know, you go to restaurants now all over the world, in the United States included, you know that they have doubled their price at least, and they have halved the portions that they give you to eat. Almost everyone agrees with that. You know, and they all say, well, you know, yeah, since the pandemic, the prices have gone up or whatever. And when you check with the master suppliers, you see they really haven't gone up. You know, it's just a trick that they're pulling over. It's just an excuse that they're using to extract more money out of you. Outside of being more diligent and refusing to do business with the ones that have tricked you, I really don't know what other solution there is. But something to share.